How are
Hi,
you?
I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
so excited. I'm so excited for
I'm
today.
so excited too. I'm just about recovered from the jet lag from getting back from Florida. So I'm
Me too.
just, yeah. It was a long week, but it was a great week.
It was. It was. It flew by and yet it felt slow at the same time. It was a very interesting week.
You guys get
Internationals.
like handing over queens get worked hard. I always tell the girls, I'm like, you will probably work harder because you're setting up for the parties, you're taking down from the parties, you're doing a lot of work as well as looking good on stage.
No, absolutely. It's like definitely a week where we're going to be wearing many hats. So it's really cool to see the behind the scenes and really understand how just these productions work. So that was a really
Yeah,
exciting
definitely.
insight for sure. And of course, for all of our guests that don't know already, Miss Julia and I were both considered alumni for the Royal International Miss Organization, which is where we initially got to know each other. So once I realized that we're speaking today, I got a little
I know, I
excited.
was so excited. I was like, oh my goodness, it's Ellie.
Like, oh, what a small world. Who would have thought?
No,
But
it's crazy, isn't it?
jumping into today, could you tell us just a little bit about yourself outside of the crowd?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Juliette Taylor. I am 22 years old, and if you couldn't tell by the accent, I am from England. I'm from a town called Newcastle, which is right up north, but I trained in musical theatre down south near London, hence why my accent is a little bit, you can't quite tell where I'm from. I like to keep people guessing. So I trained in musical theatre and I've worked professionally all over the UK and also lived in France as a performer and a choreographer. And now I'm self-employed, so I wear lots of different hats day to day. So I teach dancing and performing arts to younger children. I am a party princess, so I have my own company where I dress up as different characters and go to children's birthday parties and surprise them. And we also have a dog walking business. So when I'm not dancing, when I'm not looking glam like a princess, I am walking dogs. So it's very fun and no day is ever the same, which I love.
I love when every day can be just like ever so slightly unpredictable just because it keeps you on your toes, right?
Absolutely. No day's ever the same, no day's ever boring because there's something different happening, which I love.
Now, something I always love to ask for our guests or newcomers here is that really, why pageantry out of all hobbies?
So I grew up dancing and on the stage and have always loved, performing, which I guess pageantry in a way it's that performance, it's getting to go on stage and sort of show off. So I had auditioned when I was about 12 or 13 for a charity fashion show and I got in and I met some pageant girls whilst I was there and they were like, you need to do a pageant. They were like, you will love it. And I was like, sign me up. Like, where do I sign up? So I entered my first pageant pretty much straight after that, got the bug, and then never stopped.
I love how that's like more often than not the instance where like, well, somebody told me to try it out, so I went for
Literally, yeah.
it.
Somebody said, and the thought to me of getting on stage, and it's so much more than getting on stage and looking nice, but the thought of that being like, okay, I'm going to get to go on stage, I'm going to get to do lots of work for my community, I'm going to get to put on nice dresses and potentially win nice shiny crowns. I was like, sign me up.
Now, do you mind breaking down just like your pageant journey a little bit more, like from the very beginning, where you started,
Of
and of course where you
course.
are right now?
Yeah, so my very first pageant was Junior Miss Galaxy UK, and I placed, let me get this right, I always get confused with third and fourth runner up. I placed third runner up. There we go. I placed fourth, which was third runner up, and I came away with Miss Congeniality. I raised the most for charity, I did the most appearances, and I won Miss Publicity. So I was thrilled. Obviously, I didn't take the crown, but I was like, this is incredible. I placed the top five, and Galaxy is a really big system in the UK. So to place top five in my first pageant, I was buzzing. I then did a pageant called National Elite Miss, where I came first runner up. And then I had entered into another system called Miss Teen Great Britain. And I was all ready to go. And basically, one of my friends who I met through Galaxy said, hey, I'm going to compete in a pageant next weekend. If you win, you get to go to Florida. Not many people have entered. Do you want to come and enter? And I was like, well, I'm already entered in this pageant. So we spoke to the director and she said, absolutely fine, go and do it. And then, your place is still safe at Junior Teen Great Britain. So I went to this pageant and it was Miss Royal United Kingdom. Went and competed and I won, which led me to Royal International Miss in Florida. So this was the first year that anyone international had been to Royal. It'd only ever been American competitors until 2017. So we had really no idea what we were getting ourselves in for. We were just sort of going and hoping to have a great time and enjoy ourselves. We didn't even have a director with us, so we were really playing it by ear. We were hoping we'd done everything right. I remember one day, you know, the hamper raffles that they do? So my mum was going, where do I bring the basket? And they were like, the basket? And mum was like, yeah, we were told to bring a basket. And they were like, a basket? And they thought we meant like a laundry hamper. And we were like, no, 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 no. Like, we have this, like, we've made a hamper. And it was so funny. Like, we just had no idea, like, what was going on. But I was I was so, so incredibly lucky to win the title of Royal International Miss, International Role Model, Preteen and Junior Teen. So I made history, becoming the first ever international winner at Royal International Miss. And still today, 7 years later, I am the only person from the United Kingdom who has won the role model crown, which is still just crazy to me. Took a little bit of a break after winning Royal because pageantry is a very expensive hobby, especially when you are a child and your mum is funding it for you. So my mum kind of put me on a break and was like, steady on, you're going to have a little bit of time out. I was also doing some of my big exams at school around the time. And then it was about 2 years ago, I wanted to get back into pageantry. So I entered and became a finalist for Eco Pageants UK, went and competed last August, and I came away with the crown of Miss Environment England. And in October, I will be going to India to compete in the Miss Environment International Finals, and I am so excited.
It's such an exciting journey to hear about, and just how everything fell in place just the right way for you. I believe there's always a reason why things happen how they do.
Absolutely.
Can you break down the Miss Environment pageant a little bit for us? What is it about? Tell us how it's set up. What do competition look like?
Cool. So Eco Pageants UK, it's a fairly new system to the United Kingdom. So we crown, I think it's 7 queens. So we crown Miss Environment England, Scotland and Wales. We crown Miss and Ms Eco Pageants UK, and then they are the only system in the UK who actually crowns their first runners up. So if you come first runner up to the Miss or Ms title, you get a crown and sash, and you get a contracted title with the system for, I believe it's like 4 or 5 months. Basically, you know, saying if somebody can't fulfill the role, you take over. But it's the only system that actually crowns their first runner-ups, which I think is really cool. So the Miss Environment system, their ethos for this year is empower, educate and elevate. And obviously in the name, it's Miss Environment. So it's all about what we, not just as pageant girls, but we as a community, we as a world can do to help make our planet a more sustainable place. And I just think it's incredible that pageantry are giving us this platform to speak up and raise awareness and actually, you know, really, really put our crowns to good use.
No, I absolutely agree with that. And it just sounds like you've had just a really wonderful, exciting, fulfilling journey when it comes to pageantry as well. Now, I want to know, has there really ever been a moment where you wanted to give up during this journey? Because it just sounds like there's so much that's just encouraging and fueled you to do more.
Oh, never. You would have to pay me money to stop doing pageants. You would have to say, like, here's £1 million, and I'd still probably go, you know what, no, I'd rather do pageants still. I just love them. I think, like, the people I've met through pageantry, I wouldn't have had so many of the opportunities that I've had if it wasn't for pageantry. I owe a huge amount to Royal, you know, it's such an incredible system, you know. You get to go on a cruise. Like, when in normal day life do you just get to go on a cruise? I've met some of my family through Royal. I wouldn't even say friends, they are family. So Brittany Cathcart, our international photographer now, she was my sister queen, and I'll be flying back out to Florida in December to celebrate her wedding, which I'm just so excited for. And it's, without pageantry, I wouldn't have the opportunities like this. I wouldn't have the voice that I've had to stand up and raise awareness for so many things. So yeah, I owe so much to pageantry, and I'm not planning on stopping, especially now that pageants like Miss Universe, they've said, hey, there's no age limit, Royal, there's no age limit. So you're never getting rid of me, pageant land. I'm very sorry, but I'm sticking around.
No, like, if that's the case, you're going to be stuck with us for a long time.
Absolutely.
Once you get by the pageant bug, it's hard to get rid of those symptoms.
I say that to people all the time. They're like, I'm just going to do this one pageant and that's it. And I go, okay, call me when you finish the pageant and you see if you say the same thing, because I guarantee you'll be saying, I've already entered another one.
Yeah. I was talking about this other one, like right during the finals. I gotta go. I'm like, okay, yeah, you are.
You got the bug. Definitely.
Now, do you have any advice for young ladies that have a passion for service, but they don't particularly know where or how to start yet?
I honestly think pageants are a really, really good place to start, especially if you're looking to gain a little bit of confidence along the way, or even if you already are a very confident person who wants to, sort of really, really use their voice. I think a lot of pageants nowadays as well, they allow you to choose your own platform. So say you're really passionate about the planet, say you're passionate about mental health, say you're passionate about helping children in foster care. Any pageant that you compete in, they'll either sort of give you a charity and a platform so you can find one that aligns with you, or you can find a pageant like Royal where they say choose whatever you are passionate about, and they give you this title that allows you a platform to speak up and raise awareness about your platform. So I think if you are really passionate about, even if it's just helping out your community, have a look at pageants, see if there's one that really aligns with your values, because like I said, you'll either be able to find one that goes, okay, this pageant specifically raises money and awareness for the Ronald McDonald House, say. Or you might find a pageant that says, hey, you can raise awareness for whatever you want. And you go, okay, I'm going to do that one. And I'm going to be an advocate for mental health awareness for my year with the Crown and going on after that as well.
No, absolutely. What do you say that you've discovered about yourself throughout your pageantry journey? Because I feel like we've all kind of had like a little awakening on some type of passion, for example, or just something we didn't quite realize that was within us whenever we first
You know
started.
what? My eco journey actually started because of pageantry. So before I was entered as a finalist for Eco Pageants UK, I would say I sort of cared for the planet as much as the next person. I would do my best to recycle. I would do my best to, cut emissions, but it wasn't something that I was really, really conscious on. And then I became a finalist for Eco Pageants UK, and it really, really opened my eyes to how much we have actually sort of neglected our planet as not even just a generation, as a global race. And I realized that, something really does need to be done. So I really, really have this ignited passion within me to raise awareness and to help our planet, which sort of is how I ended up then creating my advocacy or platform. So it's all about, and it really aligns with the Miss Environment core values. So empower, educate, and elevate. And my platform is all about education and inspiration to our younger generation to help them have the passion that I've been given for our planet to help give them, and then so they can carry the torch and continue doing the work for our planet.
Of course, there's so much that we can do to help kind of contribute to our environment, which of course in turn will pay off and help us.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the things as well, it's not even like big things that you have to do. You don't have to completely change your lifestyle and how you live your life. Sometimes it is like the simplest things like, okay, can you take the bus to work? Can you walk to work? Could you buy them new jeans that you need from the charity shop instead? It's really, really simple things that you can do that will eventually over time add up and make a difference.
No, absolutely. And it's all just like a part of everyone making the small contributions to make a larger impact, because
Yeah,
one person can carry all the weight of the world on their shoulders.
absolutely.
Now, what do you have to say, like, career-wise, your goals are for the next 5 years, both maybe within and without and outside of pageantry?
So within pageantry, I would absolutely love to be crowned the next Miss Environment International. I believe I've worked so hard. I've actually been a queen for almost a year. I'm lucky I've got a very long reign. I don't hand over until January as well. So I'm really, really thankful I get to keep a hold of this crown a little bit longer. But I believe in my year as Miss Environment England, I've really proven myself to be a worthy winner for the Miss Environment International system. So that would definitely be up there with the pageant goals. It is in my life plan to come back to Royal for the divisional title one day, whether that be as a Miss or a Ms, depends where my life takes me, but I would love to come back to Royal as, yeah, a Miss or a Ms for that divisional title. And like I said, Miss Universe they got rid of the age limit, so potentially that is in there at some point as well. Sort of out of pageant wise, I'm really happy, sort of where I am. I love teaching my dance classes. I love doing my parties. I also have my own podcast. So hopefully the plan would be to get that a little bit more like from a hobby to sort of more like a second, well, like I have lots of different jobs and incomes, but to sort of make it like more of like an actual job. So instead of sitting down and recording it for fun, it almost becomes like, okay, I need to record this podcast because there's so many listeners listening, and maybe it even brings in a little bit of income as well. So that would be nice, but no pressure podcast.
I always love when I hear that one of my pageant girlies have a podcast because it ranges everywhere naturally from just their personal hobbies, their passions to pageantry and far above and beyond. Yeah. Dig in a little bit more about your podcast. Tell us about it.
So my podcast is called Live, Laugh, Love Lesbian, and it's basically a safe space. It's not just for lesbians, it's for anyone. Even if you're not gay, you can listen to it. It's for everyone. But I created it sort of as like, so people have a safe space to come to, so they can basically anonymously send in a dilemma, a question, a story, because I know some people don't have a person that they can just go and ask a question to or tell something to. So I, sort of give a little bit of advice. I'll answer any questions. I brought on different guests, and I have lots more exciting guests lined up. So it's basically just a safe space for, I say, sort of younger queer children who, well, yeah, it's basically for anyone really who just wants a little bit of a safe space. And I've been told this for years, I could talk for Britain. So someone giving me a microphone and saying, just talk, I'm like, happily. So I love it.
Oh, that's fantastic. And something I always love as well is that we're now like coming to an age, I feel, that is becoming a lot more open, accepting of a conversation for queer children to actually be able to safely discover themselves and their identity. Absolutely. So I just think that you're also being able to project that on a wider scale for people to really feel comfortable and safe in at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's really nice just to sort of have this safe space that people can, listen, they can type in a dilemma if they have a question or they're worried about something and they don't have someone they can go to. This is a space where they can come and, feel seen and heard and know that they are safe.
Absolutely. And now I just have to know, because curiosity is definitely getting me, because again, you wear so many hats, you have so many talents and accolades under your belt already. If you could live 1 year in somebody else's shoes, who would it be and why?
That's a good question. I think I would live. Now, I don't know if I can give you a specific person, but I would live as any, I say any, I probably will take that back, but we'll say any for now, of the Lionesses. So they are the English women's national football team, and I cannot play football for toffee. I am horrific, but I love to watch football. So if I could live as one of them, even though they work really hard, like they train every day, they can't have treats in McDonald's as often as I do, but I would love to spend a year as one of them and actually get to, and well, actually I'll do it next year because it's the Euros next year. So, and we are the current European champions, so hopefully we can do it again. Then I would get to experience being a Euro winner. So that's who I would be. Any of the Lionesses, as long as they're not sitting on the bench. I want to be one who's actually playing.
I never thought of that question in that perspective before. Like living as somebody that quite literally, like, fulfills a skill that you may not be the strongest in.
I probably would regret it. I'd do a week and be like, I regret this.
You said Lioness, like the Lion King Lioness, or
I'm sure that would be really fun too.
Yeah, I mean the opportunity is there. Why not?
Absolutely.
Now, how many attempts did it take you to like truly win your first pageant, or like what you define as a win?
So my first pageant, even though I didn't take home the crown, I genuinely felt like I'd won. Like I said, it was my first ever pageant. I placed in the top 4 and took away 4 out of, I think it was 7 side awards. So it was almost a clean sweep. So I came away thinking, this is incredible. I was voted Miss Congeniality out of all of the girls, which I just thought, how incredible is that? That, obviously they liked me. They did think I was horrible. I was thrilled just to have obviously left a lasting impression on them. So I was like, that is a win in itself. But like getting a crown, technically it took me, I did 2 pageants. So I did Galaxy and National Elite Miss, and then it was Royal when I won.
Now that's just so fascinating because again, and also so each system is just so personal.
Mm-hmm.
There's something for everybody out there. Not every going to be the same. They have their own unique identity. So I always love whenever someone, especially after trying a few different systems, they find that's really home for them and calls them.
I do really think there's a system out there for everybody, and I believe the place I was in when I was younger, I think I was 15 when I won Royal. I truly believe the role model title was like the perfect title for me. I did so much for my community. I did so much fundraising. So I believe, maybe I wasn't meant to win the other two pageants because the role model title was meant for me.
Absolutely. Now, like you mentioned before, if you were given a mic, you'd speak.
I would.
Is there like ever a question you feel that you might be a little bit worried about answering whenever it comes to your, like you have that moment where you're given the mic, whether it's in an interview room or on stage, for example?
So, like I mentioned, I am still fairly new to my eco journey. So sometimes I do get a little bit of imposter syndrome and I think I don't know enough. But then I